Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Naval Action. So today we're doing another ship review. So first off, let me apologize. Yesterday I planned to do a little preview of the westenr, but I never did. Sorry about that. Next week there will be a ship review of the westenr though. And another thing, I'm sorry for delaying the Pavel, but this beauty gets priority, and after that the westenr and then the Pavel. Unless they add another more beautiful ship or whatever. But I think Pavel is on the top of the list. After this and the westenr. But hey, on the bright side, we're talking about a Russian ship. Pavel is Russian. Ingermanland is Russian. You know. Either way. So, let's talk about the Russian 62 gun ship of the line. Well, in-game 62 gun ship of the line. Historically, she was a 64 gun ship of the line. So, in-game, she's barely a third rate. Historically, it depends on when and who you ask. When she was built, she was most definitely a third rate ship of the line. According to British rating system, early 19th century, late 18th century, she would have been a fourth rate. Because both crew and cannon count and yeah. Now, the Ingermanland, she's the oldest ship in the game. She was built in 1715. The second oldest ship, if I'm not wrong, would be the Renome, which was 1744. So that's almost 30 years of difference. Which is quite a bit. So the Ingermanland is the oldest ship in the game right now, 1715. And you can see it on her style. She does have the older look to her. And I forgot to put up the stats of the Ingermanland because I'm an idiot. I'll get those stats up presently. There we go. Okay, I got the stats up. Sorry for the little delay. So, we'll talk about the stats. And we're gonna compare her to her main competitor, which is not the third rate. Although we'll compare it to the third rate as well. But the Ingermanland is, being an older design, she suffers in certain areas, but in certain other areas she does surprisingly well. And you'll see what I mean. So, 1715 being an older ship, you wouldn't expect too much of her. Sorry about that. But you would be surprised about what the Ingermanland is capable of. And a lot of people, or some people, have already written her off as a ship that won't be used. And it won't be the most common ship. That I can agree with. However, she will most definitely see use due to some of her sailing qualities. First of all, she has 4 bow chasers. I don't know what it is about 4 bow chasers, but it just... I like 4 bow chasers. It's something satisfying about firing 4 bow chasers. That being said, on the Ingermanland there are only 4-pounder putt-putt guns. But there's still 4 of them, which is nice. It's good for tagging. They won't do jack shit to a ship though, but... still, there's something, I can't put my finger on it, about 4 bow chasers. Secondly, stern chasers, she has 2 68-pound cannons. Carronades, correct. Sorry, hiccups. Correction, carronades. Which is good, it's the same as most third rates and up. Now let's go on to the broadside cannons, and that's where the real power is. She has 32-pounders, 18 and 6-pound cannons, or 12-pound carronades. So the top deck is very lightly armored. Armed, I mean, nothing to talk about. However, 12 32-pounders on her bottom gun deck and 12 18-pounders on her top gun deck. That puts her broadside weight as the same as a third, almost the same, not exactly the same, almost the same as a third rate. A third rate has 24-pounders on her bottom gun deck. which is why the similarity. Which is very good for the Ingermanland, because she's a heavy hitter. And you can see she has a low crew, she only has 470 crew. So if potentially another rank gets added, let's say 500 crew or 450 crew, the Ingermanland would be excellent at those ranks. And she would definitely see play, especially in possibly port battles, if you're not high enough rank and you need to fill in the gaps. Although a third rate or a Bologna, in my opinion, is better in a line fight, and I'll get to my reasoning of that later. But we'll continue with the stats. Now here's the real surprising things. Like, the armament are quite impressive, but that's not the most surprising thing. It's her sailing qualities. Now Peter the Great was impressed by her sailing qualities, and so am I, in game at least. Her max speed is 11.49 knots. This makes her the fastest ship of the line in game. The Constitution is of course faster at 12 point something knots, but the second fastest ship of the line is the Pavel, which is 11.47 knots, I believe. So that's a 0.02 knot difference, so not a huge difference. However, this has bow chasers, which does make a difference. But that's not the only thing she has over all the other ships of the line. She turns a lot better as well. She turns a lot better than the Connie as well. With 2.47 turning rate, she's the best turner ships of the line, which is very surprising. And I enjoy sailing the Ingermanland. She sails a lot nicer than all the other ships of the line, I find. Of course, there are bound to be disadvantages, and this is a big one. And this will severely limit her use in line fights. Her structure. She only has 5,865 structure. That's about 1,000 less than a Consti, which is a frigate. Well, a super frigate, a 4th rate frigate, so they're about the same class in terms of rating. So it has weaker armor than the Connie. She has weaker armor than every other ship of the line. But she turns better, and she's faster. So what would the role of the Ingermanland be? Well, obviously she would not fit at all as a line ship, although she was historically a line ship. But in game, she just doesn't have the health for it, or the structure for it. However, she's not as fast as a frigate. Now, I had this discussion earlier in global chat, but I feel open world PvP is where she would succeed. Although she doesn't have the speed of any of the frigates, she has firepower. She is decently fast, so if you rig her for speed, unlike all the other ships of the line which you want to rig for structure. Now this one is a live oak one with build strength and exceptional speed. What you want to do, and what I'm going to do for my next Ingermanland, is make maybe teak Ingermanland. Put exceptional copper plating. Maybe reload mods and such. Do what you can to speed her up. Make her a DPM machine. Team up with other people. Say a frigate. Or maybe other Ingermanlands. Like, if you're in a group. I think the Ingermanland would do handsomely. Since her firepower is unmatched. And in a open world PvP fight, a ship of the line can flip the balance. Especially one that has nearly the same broadside as a third rate. Which is not an insignificant amount. Of course, as with the previous ship I reviewed, which was the SX. I think I reviewed that last. Either way. Her aiming is a bit weird with only having cannons on the quarterdeck. And they're a bit disappointing since they're only 6-pound cannons or 6-pound cannons or 12-pound carronades. So that's a bit disappointing. But you make do. It's only 7 per broadside or 14 in total. The heavy hitters is the 18-pounders and especially the 32-pounders. Which do a lot of work. And a skilled captain, I believe, if you were to encounter a third rate, you would just brawl it, you would stay out of its firing range, use this ship's agility and speed to avoid getting hit. And you can possibly do the same with turning against a Connie, since this turns better than a Connie, believe it or not. I have the data for it. And I would really suggest use this ship's strengths. Like, there are people I've talked to who want to mitigate its disadvantages as much as possible, like its low health amount. So they put extra, build a live oak one with extra planking and so on. Personally I don't think this is where the ship shines. I think it shines in open world PvP, port screening for port attacks and such, or port defenses. And just using the heavy broadside, which is 642 pounds by the way, to just boom 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 the enemy. Since you can do a lot of work to frigates, which are often used in frigates or trinkos, or lighter ships, which are often used in screening fleets. Now you can't take that many hits as, say, a Connie. So really the main competitor of this ship is the Connie, and they both have the same battle rating. The Connie, she's the fast one, lighter armed, worse turning. The Ingermanland is heavily armed, worse armored, but better turning. But she's slower. And has one less durability, but that's not a significant amount, in my opinion. So the Ingermanland really... I think the Ingermanland will see its place in the game. Although she will definitely be less popular than the Connie. But, yeah. I have my reasons why I sail her. And the main reason, which I haven't gotten to yet, and we haven't really seen it yet. Let me just look at that. Look at it. I don't think you can argue against its beauty. I think this is the most beautiful ship in the game. There are people that don't like the older style that the Ingermanland represents. Personally, I love the older style, and I just love the way this ship looks. And I'll be spending a lot of time in this ship. Even though I have the Santissima, I don't think I can say no to this beauty. I've waited for her ever since I saw screenshots of her. And boy, especially look at that stern. Just look at those decorations. And look at this figurehead. Look at the detail on that. Like, come on. Look at that lion. Holding that whatever it is. It's a beautiful ship. It's a beautiful, beautiful ship. And she also has an interesting bow with a little mini mast on the front of the bowsprit. Right here, which no other ship has. Bit cool. Not that it makes much of a difference in terms of gameplay, but it's an aesthetic thing. I think it's a cool little thing. It's the only ship with such a mini mast. It's the ship with the most decorated stern in game, I believe. And she's actually quite large in size as well. She's about the size of a third rate, in fact, or a Bologna. So even though has less guns, only 62, she's still not a small ship. She is about the size. She's a bit lower though, I believe, and like 1 or 2 meters shorter. And I completely lost what I was going to do for my conclusion. Oh yeah, my conclusion is... she's, in my opinion, what I would imagine her being. Now, she's quite new. I haven't had an extreme amount of fighting with her. I haven't done any PvP with her yet. But in my experience, in my impression of her, she would possibly do well in open world PvP. Now, port battles, she is not the ship for it. Open world PvP, screening fleet, attacking other ships of the line, she's faster than them all. And she's also, her speed also allows her to be more capable of keeping up with the fight. So say, if you are chasing another ship, that ship could just run away from a third rate or a Bologna while the Ingermanland is to a certain extent able to keep up, especially if she's rigged for speed. But she's a new ship, not a lot of people have her yet. Maybe not a lot of people want her. I have had quite a few orders, even though I only take special orders now for her, since especially me, or at least I wanted this ship based on looks alone. And she is beautiful. And I was afraid of this. I was afraid she was going to handle like a dog because she was an old ship, an older design. But she handles as beautifully as she looks, in my opinion. Now, armor is severely lacking, which you can notice now. Like, this is like the amount of hits I would take in while sailing a Trinco in these missions. Although she has about, I believe about 800 more structure. No. About 1,000 more structure it is than the Trinco. It's still... she's not good for running missions, basically. Especially not these Flak Capitan missions. You can do these in a Trinco. I've done them with carronades if wanted, but it's not... it's still just as doable in a Trinco as it is this. I believe open world PvP is where this will shine. And also, she handles, for her low crew, she handles really well. In the Trafalgar on Saturday, I did decently in her, even though I lost 200 crew due to a guy exploding in the middle of us. So, even if there isn't another rank coming in between at, like, say, 450 crew, throw extra hammocks on her. At 350 crew, maybe a crew space Ingermanland, and you could sail her quite decently. Some people already do it with the Connie, and I would definitely feel comfortable doing that in the Ingermanland. But that, of course, it's going to differ from person to person. So this has been a little review of the Ingermanland, the Russian flagship. I should have maybe done a bit more history, but I kind of got carried away, I guess. She was built 1715. She was Russian flagship from 1712 to 21, I believe. In the Baltic fleet, I think. Yeah, this has been a review on this beauty. I hope to make a cinematic video of her, because she is beautiful. The devs really make more and more detailed and better images, but for every patch. Not images, models. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching the review of what is, in my opinion, the most beautiful ship in the game, the Russian ship Ingermanland. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.